If you want to know how Rachel Gupta won Miss Grand International at just 20 years old, then stick around because this video is for you. If you like content like this, then please do consider supporting the channel by hitting the subscribe button. Now let's begin. Rachel Gupta made history this year by becoming the very first Indian to get the Golden Crown while she competed with 68 women this year. Now, the reason why her win was historic but also extremely predictable, and what stood out to me as a pageant coach is the way she won, how she prepared, and her journey leading up to this moment. To understand Rachel's 2-year winning strategy, we have to first understand Miss Grand International as a pageant system. Miss Grand is a Thailand-based pageant franchisee which was started not that long ago by Mr. Nawat in 2013. And Grand focuses on their humanitarian advocacies through their motto, Stop War and Violence. Since then, Miss Grand has become the fastest growing pageant in the international pageant world because of their very high engagement rate on social media, their very vibrant culture, also their terrific production value, the stunning stages, cutting edge lighting technologies being used, and also the very high quality live broadcasts of all rounds of the pageant, because it makes it super interesting to see how they have a swimwear before the preliminary competition, their national costumes, their interviews, and this year we also saw the 1-minute speech rounds videos being uploaded. And so the audience gets to know the contestants really, really well. And also the pageant system provides a lot of opportunities to not just their title holders, but Grand is in fact one of the few pageants that gives equal opportunities to also the runner-ups and in fact the top 10 contestants. Now, Miss Grand as an organization is very vocal and transparent about what they've been looking for in a title holder. Their website clearly talks about the 4 B's: beauty, body, brain, and business, which is one of the most important B's. And they also put a lot of emphasis on the entertainment and entrepreneurship qualities that they're looking for in their queen. So when Rachel stepped in to compete for Miss Grand International, what made her win is that she understood the 5 W's that create a winning pageant strategy, and she did the homework that any pageant contestant should do when they step in to compete. Let's have a look at what are these 5 W's. The first W is your why. Knowing your why, your reason for being in the competition, is so crucial to winning a pageant, because it is not just a competition but a huge business as well. And specifically, if you're at Miss Grand, you have to understand the why behind the business. Rachel, in fact, has been an entrepreneur since the age of 18 when she started her own self-care salon service. And it also helps that she comes from a business background family. Her mom, in fact, is a personal trainer and nutritionist. And she talked about this not just in her Miss Grand interview, but even 2 years ago on her personal YouTube channel, that entrepreneurship just runs in her blood and she hopes to become an entrepreneur someday. Now, when it comes to the Miss Grand interview, what made Rachel stand out is that she addressed both whys that are important in a pageant strategy. She knew and had clarity on why she wants to win the Miss Grand title and why she wants to be there. And she also knew why the organization should pick her and what makes her the best fit for the title. Now, she said these 2 whys while introducing herself in the Miss Grand interview. Now, while reviewing all of the Miss Grand interviews, I realized that a lot of contestants were speaking about how grateful they are to be there, but what they were focusing more on is the opportunities that Miss Grand could provide them. Only a few countries went into the details of what they bring to the table and how they can benefit the Miss Grand business. And she not only talks about winning the international title, but she also talks about how she understands her responsibilities as the ambassador of Miss Grand India as a national title holder. Another strategic thing that Rachel did during her interview is that she did not dive into her life story, which is something a lot of contestants were doing during their interview when asked to talk about themselves. And the reason it was strategic was because the 1-minute speech videos had already been released before the closed door interviews happened. And so to repeat herself would, one, not make sense and sound repetitive, but also she dove into her life story further when asked what is the biggest challenge that you have faced. And that is the kind of strategy I teach inside my coaching sessions as well, where It's not up to the contestant to just lay out all your cards in front of the panel at first, but rather let them ask the question and then go into further details. And so Rachel was placing every word very carefully, and it was all very intentional. The second W is what, and that means what is the pageant system about? Now, Miss Grand makes it very clear that their system is about the 4 Bs, and in fact, Rachel even brought in the 5th B, which was so on brand, where she talks about having Bollywood as one of the largest film industries in the entire world during her interview. She understood what the Miss Grand pageant is all about, and she made sure that her social media pages reflected the 4 Bs very strategically. In fact, I noticed that she also interspersed her social media content with entertainment and comical reels as well, thereby garnering a lot of the Punjabi community's support as well, and also showing that she's not just a serious pageant candidate, but she also has this funny side to her, which I think is necessary, because a lot of the times when a pageant contestant is competing in the pageant, all we see about them is just about the pageant, and sometimes it's nice to sprinkle in a little bit of fun and more of your personality as well. The third W is the who, and understanding the who is what really changed the game for Rachel. Miss Grand International is very different from other international competitions like Miss World and Miss Universe, in the sense that when it comes to Miss Grand, the owner of the organization, Mr. Nawat, is actually actively involved in the selection of the title holder. He's the one judging the interviews, and he has a say in the contestants who end up getting placed and who ends up winning. This is not the case with Miss World and Miss Universe, where the organization owners are not present in those rooms. So as a contestant competing at Miss Grand International, not just do you have to look at the competition, but also look at the who is behind the competition and whose opinion truly matters. So understanding that person, their mindset, their preferences, their likes and dislikes, and being able to connect with them is what strategy is all made of. In the case of Rachel, her business idea of producing aam papad, which is a snack that is common in the Thai and Indian culture, with Mr. Nawat's face on the packaging, is such a clear business strategy. It's a really good money-making idea. It is also not a very expensive product, but considering how big India's population is, that thing will make you money. And in fact, I feel that with her mom being a personal trainer and nutritionist, in the future, now that she has the Miss Grand crown, you could also see them opening up more businesses and not just promoting Miss Grand, but also bringing in Mr. Nawat's idea of business legacies and expansion into India. The fourth W is the where. Now, this means that as a contestant, you also have to show up looking and presenting yourself based on where you are and where the competition is being held. In the case of Rachel, if we look back at her pageant journey, in India during her departure look, since she is from Punjab, she was wearing a Punjabi outfit. When she comes to Thailand, she dresses in a way that also resonates with Thai-inspired designs, but still paying homage to her Indian roots. Now, this reflects in her peacock-inspired winning gown, her Ganga-inspired national costume, her lotus-inspired evening gown, and so she continues to bring a little bit of India wherever she goes. Furthermore, in the year 2024, the host country for Miss Grand International is also where the business is based out of. It is a Thai-based pageant franchisee as well. And what Rachel did is, before the competition began, she made a visit to Thailand, where she already had started distributing her aam papad business products that she had in mind to bring into the Miss Grand interview later on. And so there was a lot of consistency in her efforts from a very early stage, and she made sure that she was working with nonprofits in Thailand as well. This initiative of hers not just established her as a businesswoman, but also someone who is working towards the humanitarian aspect of Miss Grand. And so Rachel was consistently making sure that she was able to bring Thailand and India closer together through her efforts, even just as Miss Grand India. And she continued to go that extra mile to make that dream come true of hers, and making it all happen like a really well-oiled machine of sorts. Now, nonprofits is not the only way she was working in Thailand. Let's come to our last and our fifth W, which is the how. How did she make all of this happen? First things first, she built a team. Rachel understands that it is not possible to do everything by herself, and neither can one person provide her everything that she needs in order to win Miss Grand International. She had a very clear vision and she knew what her strengths and weaknesses are. And then she went on to hire people who will help her overcome those weaknesses and gaps. One of the people Rachel worked with in Thailand is, in fact, the person who did the voiceover for her first infomercial that her team released to promote the arm popper at Miss Grand International. I was very surprised to find out that the voiceover for this video was done by Mr. World Thailand. She not just made connections but also ensured that the voice resonated with the Thai audience. She hired Putra Passarella, the international ramp walk coach, to come to India, fly all the way down, take care of his accommodations, investments that a pageant contestant who is seriously working towards an international crown, this should be a part of her winning strategy. And so it was amazing to see that she made sure that she was bringing in the experts from around the world to come help her. Her designers were from Vietnam. She also coached with Anish, who's also another ramp walk coach, and so it helps to work with multiple coaches. I don't think she worked with an interview coach from what my research has been, but also looking back at her videos, and she's not new to pageantry. She has won an international crown for India before, where she won Miss Super Talent World 2022. I feel that speaking and communication has always been her strong suit. So perhaps that was a strength and she didn't require an expert to help her with that. The Glam Anand team obviously was there to support her. And so it takes a whole team invested in the same vision that you have to help you win. The second part of the how she got to the title is that she did not let any external opinions get to her or any of the noise distract her. We heard that during her Miss Grand interview, she was supposed to wear a sari, but that actually got stuck in customs, and which is why she ended up wearing the court set that she did. But nowhere do you feel that it affected her composure or it affected her interview performance. She was clearly one of the strongest candidates at the Miss Grand interviews. She did not let even the most trickiest of questions thrown at her by Mr. Nawat faze her. Because I was so intrigued by her life story and her journey till Miss Grand International, I did a little bit of snooping around myself. So Rachel has quite an interesting story. Like a lot of us, she took some really major life decisions during the pandemic, and she realized that she spends her time more wisely and is a lot more productive when she doesn't have to go to school. And so she stayed home and studied by herself. And so I feel that there was an element of homeschooling here, probably just by herself. She's also been a vegan for 4 years, and I'm sure she's going to talk about it now that she has an international title as well. She also plays golf. She's an avid reader, an habit that I feel definitely is common between all successful people. She also writes poetry, and she even once had a Bhangra coach, because trust me, when it comes to Rachel, she talks about how she was never always comfortable with moving her body to music. But when you go into pageants, I feel like now if you look at her, nobody could tell that she is not confident or would not be comfortable with dancing ever in her life. But turns out that she actually had a Bhangra coach to help her get used to the rhythm and also more like a workout. And it was so endearing when I saw her recently during one of the press conferences she's having as Miss Grand International to the other top 8 contestants with her. And it makes me look back to the video where she talked about in 2022 about having a Bhangra coach. To sum it all up, Rachel has not just been working towards the title of Miss Grand International, but also been working on herself. She has diverse interests. She has a lot of clarity. She has spent a lot of time with just herself. She has a vision and a strategy, and she took the time to write down her goals on a piece of paper and then work backwards. This crown and this win is not a coincidence, and it is definitely not something that happened by chance because she happened to be the prettiest face in the competition. Rachel is an example where hard work and strategy and planning will get you to your dream title. And so with those 5 W's put together, she was able to win the title of Miss Grand International with a clear winning strategy, because it's not just important to work hard, but also to work smart. And that's all for today's video. I hope you guys found this video informative and useful, and that it motivated you to create a winning strategy for your upcoming pageant as well. If you did, then please do consider hitting the subscribe button and giving this video a huge thumbs up so that I can continue making more of such videos. As always, I love you guys so much, and I will see you very soon in the next video. Bye!